a lot of the time, these big global brands are not up for it. They don't take it, or don't listen,
You assume that they make good business, right? But yeah, I also read a lot that Beyond Meat, for example, they had a huge growth and then at some point maybe too ambitious, right?
I think they tried a lot. So a lot of stuff, patterns, basically just jumping on the trend of a lot of stuff and trying a lot of things and seeing what sticks.
Still a lot of meat eaters to be convinced.
Yeah, overall, I think the brand's pretty cool. But I feel like there's too many things going on.
Then my score, in this case, I think I'll give it as...
What's good, everybody, and welcome back to the brand review. Today is quite an exciting one because we are, in a way, going back in time. Because we will be talking about a new rebranding from JKR led by Lisa Smith. And it's actually one of the first videos that we ever did on the channel was for the Burger King rebrand. The first rebrand review, as it were. Yes. So it's pretty cool to revisit JKR and see what they've been doing. And it just so happens that they have just released a brand new rebrand for Impossible Foods, and you may have seen it on the internet, for the Impossible Burger and the general kind of overall look for everything that they've done around Impossible Foods. So, hello, I am Paul. This is Jan.
Hi, I'm Jan. Good to see you.
Today we're flipping the script a little bit. I am taking the helm. So I've been doing a bit of research on the brand, and we talked about it and thought it was apt, as I am a vegan and this is a vegan product. Jan only pretends to be vegetarian occasionally.
No, I'm never pretending.
Wow.
I'm just...
But I think we're both kind of in the group that this is also aimed at. So I think it's pretty interesting. Okay, so let's jump into some history.
I don't need a lot of meat, just to make this clear. From time to time.
Yeah, and where's it? Is it locally sourced, grass-fed, and all of that, the business?
Right out of the fridge. Yeah.
So, a little bit of history. Impossible Foods was founded by Pat Brown in 2011, and the headquarters are in Redwood City in California. And the idea actually came to Pat when he was on a sabbatical from his position as a HHMI investigator. I have no idea what a HHMI investigator is, but it sounds very cool. And also at the same time being a professor of biochemistry at the Stanford University of School, the biochemistry at Stanford University School of Medicine. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so he founded the company a while ago, but only launched the Impossible Burger in 2016.
Okay. So that when the whole meat alternative burger sausages kind of thing started, right?
Yeah.
We don't have Impossible Foods here in Germany, right?
No, that's what I'm coming up to,
okay.
Actually. Yeah. Other countries do have it, and a lot of other countries do have it.
Okay.
But I mean, there have been vegetarian, vegan alternatives for much longer than since 2016.
Yeah, I
but
know.
there was a real kind of ramp
The
up
hype, let's
in
say,
the industry.
yeah,
There was a
when
real
the hype
hype
was created.
more so as new types of technology and new types of ways of actually producing this stuff became a real thing. People were investing real money into making it more mainstream. Yes, so I have never tried the impossible,
Okay,
any impossible foods.
Then it's not just me.
No, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because it is sold in a lot of places, but it's not sold in Germany for some reason, and I do not know why. But it's sold in the United States, Australia, Bahrain, Canada, Hong Kong, Kuwait, Macau, New Zealand, Oman, Singapore, the United Arab Emirates, and the good old United Kingdom. So I'm actually going back to England next week.
And try
So
it.
maybe I can actually get my hands on some impossibleness and share my evaluation.
You're hungry at the moment.
Yes, I'm always hungry.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Then
especially
it's-
looking at this has definitely made me.
But
made me
this
hungry.
will not influence the score at the end, right?
No, not at all. Maybe there'll be sound effects grumbling from my tummy, which may interfere with my voice,
Okay.
but it will not affect my scoring. All right, let's jump into some facts. So at the moment, unfortunately, the entire plant meat industry has faced challenges with growth and is actually down by 14%. There's been quite a lot of press around that. 14% from last year. And also, plant-based meat is getting a bad rep, as a lot of critics are pigeonholing plant-based meat proteins as another type of processed food. And again, there's a big emphasis at the moment on people eating processed food and trying to get people to eat more kind of whole foods, plant-based diet, and it's being categorized as being processed, which is obviously not good for you. So the entire plant meat, the entire plant meat industry has faced challenges with growth, and is completely down. But saying that, Impossible have seen an upward incline of 10% to this particular date. So they're actually seeing people moving towards their product, which I think is great.
That's interesting because it in the supermarket shelves it gets like very prominent, right? In the last couple of years, and you assume that they make good business, right? But I also read a lot that Beyond Meat, for example, they had a huge growth, and then at some point maybe too ambitious, right? But
also in this category, the plant-based meats are going up against meat.
Okay.
Like animal meat, and even though these things exist, these plant-based alternatives, it's still only a $2.5 billion category in the US, but 132 billion addressable market in the US and 1.4 trillion worldwide. So there's money to be made.
Still a lot of meat eaters to be convinced.
Yeah, so it's small in parts, but then as you look at it globally, it does get bigger, but still, there's still
Sure.
the meat industry out there who I think they're starting to see it, creeping in and making a difference to their profits, which I wholeheartedly am behind. That's
starting to hurt them.
Yeah. And another thing which I think is really nice from Impossible is that they also say that they don't want to be a competitor to other plant-based products. Because they say that collectively we're all better together and we should all move together to making a better world.
Okay.
So I don't know how that plays in their figures, but their ethos is that if we're all coming together and we're not fighting against each other, then there's enough market share for everybody and we can make a real difference. I thought that was
I like that.
really cool. Okay, enough about the facts. Let's get into the design. So, of course, there was a brand before. This is how Impossible looked previously. What are your thoughts on that?
Very colorful, and I mean, I would call it like bubblegummy kind of colors. Yeah, so very bright and just bright and
There's a lot of green in there,
a lot
right?
of green. But like a mint green. It's not really like let's call it a sustainability green.
No.
It feels actually very unnatural. Everything.
Yes. And also, you have join the movement, save the planet. Like the problem with like plant-based meats, it's like it doesn't really know where it sits. It feels like it should have a root in sustainability, a root in, as we said, making change, saving the planet. Still has a bit of a hippiness about it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is still, often it's still reflected here, and you see that in a lot of branding for plant-based
it feels also very
meats.
young and startup-y.
Yes.
To add to this.
And green is synonymous with like healthy eating as well, or more kind of sustainable areas where these products kind of live. But here you can also see logo and what's this, some like badges, stickers, little characters. I think they tried a lot. So a lot of stuff, patterns, basically just jumping on the trend of a lot of stuff and trying a lot of things and seeing what sticks. And obviously some stuff stuck, like the logo and the name, but maybe the stuff that they were doing before fell a little bit short.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks a bit like sweets rather than meat alternative or
like
something
you said,
like this.
like bubble gummy.
Yes.
Somewhat. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the strategy that they thought about, that they applied to the branding beforehand. So one of the things they said was that the packages will no longer be a seafoam green apology to the planet, which is what I was talking about with everything being green. Instead, the brand is repositioning as the meatiest meat on the market that just happens to be made out of something other than animals. And I think that's actually quite nice. Putting it in that category as being the meatiest meaty thing, but it ain't meat.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't animal meat anyway.
Okay.
So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Pretty bold, yeah.
Lisa Smith says, we're showing meat eaters that eating impossible is not a sacrifice, but rather a delicious reward. The packaging will soon roll out over the US and overseas later this year. So they're testing it over there and then going to see how it plays out.
Okay.
Guys, I have one thing to ask of you. One small favor. If you are liking this video and you're enjoying the content that we're creating, please hit that subscribe button and like the video. Over half of you guys are not subscribed as of yet, and we hope to change that. But the more who subscribe and like the video, we will be able to create better and more content just like this. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate the support. So if you could do us that favor, we would highly appreciate it. So, shall we have a look at what they've done? Shall we look at the new rebranding? But just before we jump into it, you're going to see a lot of red, right? And the reason behind this is they say it's inspired by the butcher's block and bloody beef. Mm-hmm. So, like, there's going to be these comparisons between the meat industry and taking a lot of influence from there and then putting it into this plant-based product. So that's going to be a bit controversial, but we're going to see how they've actually done that. So first of all, we have the logo. And one of the things that they've actually done is they've flipped the S. So there's an animation that I saw as well where they flipped the S and there's a fork that fits nicely in between the S, the two S's.
Okay, so you can't see it right away. You need to flip the S,
You need to flip the S.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which for me is a little bit reminiscent of the whole Bolt discussion with the lightning in the actual logo. I think it's
I mean, it's
cool
a bit more
that.
special. I just think it would be nice if you. I know it's not impossible, but to see the fork without actually flipping the S, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, they didn't want to change the logo too much by the looks of it. They made small incremental changes. But it just so happens there is a fork somewhere in there. So take that as you will. Maybe that's a happy accident rather than like a proper decision. So yeah, here we have, there we go. This is what we were talking about. So there's that animation. So that has to be in view to actually see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. It's a bit hidden, but it's okay.
Yeah. So then as the Burger King rebrand and what JKR is becoming very synonymous with is a lot of motion.
Mm-hmm.
And also brand in general at the moment is very motion heavy, which is great. And you see this played out quite a lot in the rebrand. So we have some also interesting illustration.
Okay, so the fog is kind of the key visual of the brand.
So it plays a role outside of it being hidden inside of the logo.
Mm-hmm.
This is supposed to indicate the rareness of the burger as well. So like when you go as a meat eater, you would have like a medium rare, well done, etc., etc. And this is supposed to represent like how you like your burger.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. They take a lot of influence from the meat industry.
And they can simulate that with the...
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. I mean, I've had an uncooked Beyond burger before. It was pretty disgusting. Like mine, well done. Also, there is a custom font. I tried to do some research on who did the custom font. I couldn't find it. If anybody knows, let us know. Leave it in the comments below. But they have created a custom typeface called Sans Meat, inspired by the thick hand-painted obliques on grocery stores and butcher shops. It creates this subliminal link to America's fuzzy feeling about meat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a quote. I took that. I don't use the word fuzzy very often, especially with meat. So yeah, here we can see the font. So we have mainly bold and a wide bold.
Yeah, and it's like a kind of humanistic sans serif font.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
In extended and narrow version. Okay.
Here's a little bit of detailing on what they've actually done and how they've made the font.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it fits to like this whole we are also a butcher kind of idea, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you'll also see these little graphics as well, like these shapes, which are taken from like traditionally, like you would put these things in the meat at the butchers to show like the prices and stuff as well. So there's a lot of influence from there. Meat from plants, arched. Yeah, and again, you can see this old kind of heritage look that they're kind of trying to play on. So they're really anchoring back to the butcher.
Yeah, and this looks very American as well, right? As you can see it in, I don't know, a daily or like restaurants in the US. Yeah, but cool, well done. I mean, it's...
Yeah, I think it looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is, I mean, this is what I'm really interested in, to see how that actually flies, you know, how that ships to other countries. Because, yeah, the Americans believe that the burger belongs to them, just like the Germans believe the sausage belongs to them. And there's like a heritage there.
Mm-hmm.
Can that be translated into other countries in the same way? Only time will tell, and we'll see. I know, like in the UK, we're kind of big on these kind of Americanisms as well. We don't mind seeing this, and you see like a lot of restaurants emulating that. So yeah, we always see
That's a color palette as well, right?
color palette, and here instead of butchering the animals, we're celebrating the animals. So the more impossible you eat, the more the cows and the pigs will run free.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a lovely message?
It's nice, yeah.
So yeah, we have beef red, plant green, chicken yellow, and planet blue, and pork pinks. Lovely naming, actually.
Pork pinks, okay.
Pork pinks. It's really cool. Then here, rare, medium, well done, and charred. I think that's also cool. I also love that we do that a lot here at the studio as well. We try and tie in naming and make and the colors of names really kind of integral, connected. All this story comes together, which is really cool to see him doing this. That's what I also like about JKR as well. They'll apply these kind of smaller details that you normally get to maybe apply to smaller brands to these massive, big global brands. And a lot of the time, these big global brands are not up for it. They don't take it, or don't listen.
I know what you mean. I mean, you have seen this kind of style, I don't know, like on a very niche packaging on the die line, for example. Yeah. But not in a global scale. Yeah, you're right.
And that's what you always have to remember. They're JKR, they work with they did the Burger King, of course, and also not 7-Up, the
Sprite.
Not Sprite, Fanta.
Fanta.
Yeah, and again, they use these kind of very local trends, these kind of stylistic things that we're talking about in the design community, and they're able to apply those to bigger brands. Yeah. And I think that's very cool. So here we have some shapes as well, which are traditionally, like we said, associated with signage, old-fashioned signage. And then we see that playing out here as well.
And also like in terms of colors, because JKR, they had these, it's a big topic for them, like distinctiveness, how to be distinctive as a brand. And also like looking here from where they come from and looking at it now, they really want to own this red, right? This red color world, everything is
exactly
red tinted.
Yeah, inspired by the butcher's block. I mean, it's
inspired
that's the claim
by
they made.
Blood.
Yeah, by blood. The blood on the butcher's block. So we can't ever forget that. So it's definitely a point of reference. Again, more shapes. Lovely, cool. Bit more animation. Yeah, looks like some kind of wrapping paper. Yeah, more of the same. Lots of these really cool. I mean, again, a lot of it reminds me of Burger King, but that's because it's from the same company, and it's on trend. Even though Burger King was a couple of years ago now, I think it's still looking cool. I like this stuff. This is nice as well.
It feels like it has even more depth, to be honest, with all this illustration and.
Yeah, Burger King. I mean, it was good, really good.
Yeah.
But I suppose it was a bit surface level, right? This really goes into depth. There's a lot of stuff going on. Photography, same. They take the juiciness. There's high key photography, studio lighting used. Looks like real food this time, I think.
Now you get hungry, right?
Yeah. No, it's cool. And the red is very prominent there. And we've got some meatballs on top of some spaghetti. This is, what you would see in I have a Prime Minister book at home, and it looks like this. It's your kind of classic meaty type, or kind of cottagey, heritagey style photography. All right, here's a comparison of before and after. Any thoughts? Definitely looks bloodier, right?
Bloodier, yeah. I mean, it's not the color. It's not a dramatic difference, but like from a design perspective, of course, the color is the most significant change here.
I think the meaty stuff looks way more bloodier.
Yeah, I mean...
they must have changed the formula as well, somewhat, to make it bloodier. If that's the promise they're trying to deliver on.
It definitely fits now really into the meat shelf.
Well, that's the thing that actually, from what I read, they're not sure where this is going to sit. So if it sits on the shelves with other plant-based meats, you'll notice it. If you put it in the meat section, it will be noticed as well. But it doesn't want to distinguish itself as being a plant-based thing, although it is. They do celebrate the plant-basedness of it, but they're just like, look, we're a meaty meat.
Yeah, but I see this here in the shelves as well, that they quite often you see the meat and the alternatives next to each other. It's not.
Yeah, I mean that was also a strategy that
the separated shelves anymore. with all the vegan stuff. So it's really getting closer together.
Yeah, I mean, that was Beyond Meat's strategy as well, was to place their food in the meat section as well. All right, here's some packaging as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
fits, right?
yeah. It's okay. I mean, yeah. This stuff's better. I prefer this stuff. I mean, the whole thing is really loud and bold. I think the other stuff was maybe a bit finicky. Italian meatballs, sloppy joes, ravioli, lasagna. Again, bringing those the wordings that you often associate with the other versions of meat into play here. They also have the chicken nuggets, so they have a wide variety. I think this is also why it covers such an expanse, because the product offering is so wide. And then you just see like a really nice system just playing out. So it's shapes, photography, and the font and the colors obviously playing out throughout the whole communication. This is quite nice.
It's also nice that they created their own mock-ups for presenting, like here the campaigns, for example, and the screens for the mobile screens before.
Something that we talked about the
That's
other day.
cool, like,
actually.
yeah, not using the...
Creating your own, and not necessarily with photos as well. We were talking about making them with AI.
Yeah.
And these are being actually illustrated. This is like a wanted poster or something from the Wild West. Really cool. Now that's nice. Again, that's an extension of what we just looked at. Really cool. I'd actually like to see a bit more of this in the packaging. I think that would have worked really, really well. Because this packaging and those two things are two different worlds that don't really fit together.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Good old impossible hat. Are we going to have a tote bag? No, we're going to have an oven glove.
Grill set.
Which is super sick. I like that.
Barbecue
really, really
set.
nice. Merch. Lots and lots of stuff. Bento for your meats. So an overview of everything. All together as one. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot to digest, let's say.
Yeah, it's a very deep executed brand, huh? I mean, that was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that gets us to the section in the video where we talk our scores. So, seeing as I've been talking most of this video, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Jan Stein to give me some feedback.
First of all, I like to ask you, because you're vegan, how do you feel about the idea of pretending to be meat?
That will be in my score. Because I don't think it's pretending. That's the thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I just know that's also a bit controversial. All right. But I mean, me generally, I use these meat alternatives quite often, especially when it comes to fast food. Actually, I'm okay. It's mashed between patties or bread or whatever, and it's fine. It works for me. It's good. Okay, score. Anyway, the brand. Okay, yeah. I mean, logo is, as I said, it would be great if you can see the fork without flipping the S. But yeah, that's okay. And then this fork, I saw it in the beginning quite often, and it was a big thing. And then at the end, it didn't play a huge role anymore. So I don't know how really long-lasting this element is. I assume they just give it up maybe at some point. And I mean, I like the whole red world they created around this brand. I've not seen this, so that's quite cool, I think. Typography, illustration, very well done. I mean, it fits also, having this American heritage vibe to it. So really nice. That just works. Bold, everywhere, animated. That's great. So then my score. In this case, I think I'll give it 7. 7.
Interesting. Okay. All right. I can't remember what we gave the Burger King, actually. Can you remember?
Yeah, I think it was
That's quite high, right?
better. Yeah.
Which is surprising because there's a lot more depth to it.
Yeah, but it's also like the time when Burger King was done and where it came from.
Yeah, true.
And I think you talked about rolling it out globally. With Burger King, that's also another level.
Yeah, true. Okay, just to answer your question as well. I have no issue with labeling. Like, for me, like cheese is cheese. It doesn't necessarily have to be real cheese because it has real cow milk in it. There's many ways of making something. So just because I use an almond milk or a cashew nut milk to make the actual product doesn't take away from what it is. It's still within that category. And it's the same with, with cow's milk or any of the other milks. They're still, for me, they're still milk. And in the same vein, a meat is something that is meaty, that I consume and chew and have a certain texture and flavor connected to it. So it doesn't bother me. I know it would bother a lot of vegans, but for me, I'm one of the other side where if I see more people consuming this stuff and there's less harm to animals, then that's a win-win for me, to be honest. So that's my my little piece on how I feel about it. Now to the brand. Overall, I think the brand's pretty cool. But I feel like there's too many things going on. So as we started to unravel, there's a bit of everything. And then as we get, to the wider picture, there's let's try a bit of this, let's try a bit of that. And then when you try to put them all together, in some cases it starts to fall apart. It starts to clash. At the beginning it was kind of well executed. Okay, so the logo has something in it. Okay, now we have some heritage. Then we have some shapes. And then we have some illustrations. And we have this, then we have that, then we have this, then we have that. And when it all comes together, I don't think it all comes together as complete as it could do. I think it needed to be simplified. If they'd have kept the momentum of the first part of what we're looking at, simple, let's just stick with the blood red, the logo, and let's pay some homage to where it comes from. Cool. I just think it went a bit overboard towards the end. And that might, be a bit too try hard, especially to convince a non-meat eater to go, well, they're trying really hard to convince me here. I'm not going to do it, right? And that could have the adverse effect. And I think it was just blood red, impossible, in your face. Here we are, loud and proud. Then I think you'd stand a better chance instead of going, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. So it's a difficult one because I really want it to score well, because I want it to work. But on the other hand, I have to look at it from a brand perspective, and I would actually go a little bit lower. I'd probably go with a 6 on this. My heart would like to give it a 10, just because it will help to change the world, maybe. But it just falls short. Some really amazing execution on its own. But when it all comes together, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, so on that bombshell of a score, we'd like to say thank you for spending some time with us whilst we review this brand in particular. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. If you like this video, share this with other potential people who might be interested in giving up their meat consumption or reducing a little bit. Maybe it'll help sway them, or to any of your friends who are just interested in branding. But I think we'll leave it here, and I'll say goodbye. So it's a goodbye from me.
From me as well, goodbye.
And we will see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye. And don't eat too much fast food.